We're going to start this show off by talking about this video game phenomenon that is Coach Doug's brand new head coach of the Tennessee Volunteers football program on NCAA football 2014, driven by Barstool's Big Cat. As Coach Doug's takes over the Vols football program after a fantastic first season as a head coach at Texas Tech, and why Vol football will be brilliant and geniuses to take advantage of this virtual dynasty that is Coach Doug's. Zach, you've been following this Coach Doug story ever since Big Cat started this when he was the offensive coordinator at Toledo back in the 2013 season. I mean, this is hilarious of how it's got to this point. You've got NFL MVPs tweeting about this. You've got former Heisman Trophy winners tweeting about Coach Doug's throughout his journey as he's now going into his second season as a college head coach. In his first year at Tennessee, can he get the Vols back to Atlanta? Are the Vols back? Can Coach Doug's get the Vols back? We're going to discuss really the fun part about this story and what's happened during the coronavirus times, but also really what this could do for the Vols brand as a whole.
Yeah, we're going to have some flair and some fun with this. All right, guys, look, there's no sports being played. I do think that it's trending in a good direction overall, but we got to take advantage of the fun, the lighter part of life. In any sports, look, as Austin said, I've been attached to this Big Cat story since he started it because it's the only thing that I can get joy out of when it comes to sports. I can't watch NASCAR. I'm just not a NASCAR guy. I can't watch soccer that is being played or Korean baseball. So I've jumped on board with Coach Doug's, who's had a long journey, and we're going to take you through it. But more importantly, you can jump on board of the Doug's train. I put that on our social media last night.
Yeah.
This is big time. You can have a lot of fun and some entertainment. And yes, it is video games. It's not the real thing, but this is fun and it's exciting and it feels the closest thing to college football, right? And I love college football. Austin, I know you love college football. And we're doing a little twist on it. Look, we've dyed our set orange today, right? And look, I'm not a Tennessee Volunteer guy. I went to Ole Miss, but I'm a part of Gus Duggernaugh's whoop, whoop, VFL train today, baby. I cannot wait. Are you pumped, Austin?
Because I have not watched a single Coach Doug's game, so I'm very intrigued to jump on the train and take this for a ride. Lane Kiffin tweeting about it last night. Zach Reagan asked, "Did Zach breaking out the orange tinted glasses today?" Absolutely. So let's get this thing going. Don't forget, you guys share the show, right?
Yes, absolutely share the show. We haven't gotten started officially because you guys got to share the show. Bottom right corner of your screen, if you're watching on Twitter/Periscope, you'll see those three little dots. Tap that bad boy and retweet the broadcast. We need to pop up in your Twitter followers timeline. Also, Facebook. What's going on, Facebookers? More people will pile in over the next 5 to 10 minutes, and as you do, we're going to break down Coach Doug's. We're also going to talk some sports, too. So it's not all video games. We're going to break down the best and worst part about Jarrett Guarantano and a little shade toss. So get your shade ready, but share the show if you're on Facebook. We need to pop up in your Facebook friends' newsfeed. We're going to go through it. It's very, very easy to understand, but I cannot wait for today's show. And also, we got a little treat for all non-Vol fans, just Titans Vol fans. You can jump on board the Blitz train this afternoon. I will tweet out the time that I will start my season in Blitz 2000. IT guys been working hard. We're going to go Steve McNair, Yancey Thigpen, Kevin Dyson, Eddie George and the gang, full 16-game season. Follow us there. But we got your favorite topic, Austin. We got Vols on the mind this morning.
Yeah, let's get it going officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered by TennesseeTickets.com. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at A to Z Sports, Instagram at A to Z Sports, and also Facebook at A to Z Sports Nashville. We are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, and we go live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time. Got to thank our sponsors because they make everything happen for our show and for our business. TennesseeTickets.com. If you're a Titans fan, the best place to go, the safest place to buy tickets is TennesseeTickets.com. Titans 20, Titans 20 for $20 off any ticket purchase. RentersWarehouse.com is where to go to find out how much your home can rent for. They are Nashville's professional landlords. RentersWarehouse.com. Mandu, the pulse of fitness. Zach's entire body is feeling sore because he got back in the Mandu lab earlier this week. Day 2 soreness seeping in, and Zach can barely move because of what Mandu can do. It's a 15-minute workout that gets every muscle group deep within your muscle fibers, and it's one of the safest, if not the safest, fitness program during the coronavirus pandemic for you. Mandu.com, your first workout is free, and the Tucker Agency giving you relief by saving you an average of 20% on your personal insurance. TuckerTN.com. Also, Calvin and Subtle, if you need new floors, they are the place to go for hardwood floorings and finishing. CalvinandSubtle.com. Check them out. Zach, it's Coach Doug's show. I never thought, really, I honestly never thought that we would do a full show about a video game coach on NCAA 14, which came out in August of 2013. This is almost 7 full years ago when this game came out. And Coach Doug's, led by Barstool's Big Cat, is taking over social media for what he's been doing. It's been a fun story to follow. I know you've been all over it. I've kind of monitored it from like bird's eye view. He started at Toledo as an offensive coordinator. After one season, he goes to Florida State, and that's really where things took off, Zach, because Florida State football got involved on social media. He went to USC, and the story, you can take it over from there.
Yeah, Hollywood Doug's offensive coordinator, undefeated throughout his entire season except for UCLA, the Achilles heel, the rivalry game. He got to the Rose Bowl, couldn't get to the national championship, and then got his first head coaching job a season ago. Texas Tech, the air raid offense. Had some struggles, but took a 2-win team to a 9-win team, which is very, very impressive. Lost to the likes of TCU, who ended up winning the Big 12 championship, and then last night won the Cotton Bowl. Now, here's the fun part about this. He's been jumping around. He's been a head coach for 1 year, and after this past season, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is getting involved. There are some big names that have been monitoring this. So we had to jump on board, and we had to do a full-fledged show to explain to the people what's going on. Last night, he had a big decision between 2 SEC schools. His first offer was from Georgia. No. Stiff arm right to the face of the Bulldogs and decides to go on to Rocky Top. This is how this works. Big Cat of Barstool and Pardon My Take, which is one of my favorite podcasts. We podcast every single day. They podcast Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I am a habitual listener to that podcast. One thing that you have to understand, these are broadcasted live on Twitch. We've got a Twitch audience. We've started broadcasting live there. And if you follow Big Cat on Twitter, you can watch them live. You can go back and watch them after they're done. And we're going to go through this season to see how he does and if he can bring the Tennessee Volunteers a national championship for the first time since feels like 98, as they say, virtually. But we want you guys to be a part of it. So I do want to go through this. And you asked me who Coach Doug's is. A lot of people are going to be joining this stream and be like, who the hell are you talking
Somebody
about?
On our Instagram this morning when you posted about it said, what happened to Coach Pruitt? Which is just like the reaction that people who have no idea what's happening is hilarious. And Brent says that he should have gone to Georgia. Going to the Vols was a stupid move. End of Doug's career. Look, there's going to be so many great opinions that are just based off of a video game head coach that was created by Big Cat.
So this is what Vols Football tweeted out last night after Big Cat made the decision to put on the Power T. Big Philip Fulmer, athletic director, comes in, and this is what's photoshopped. And they sent this out. You can follow Coach Doug's on Twitter. He's Rocky Top Doug's right now.
Coach Doug's TN.
Yeah, they tweeted this out and then followed that up with the Rocky Top Doug's right there. They have made this a phenomenal – it's a phenomenon, honestly. That's what it is. To kind of recap last night's decision, so Tennessee offered the contract. We're going to walk you through this. Tennessee offered the contract. He viewed the contract, and he accepted to become Tennessee's next head coach. Now, here's my opinion on why I think he decided to choose Tennessee over Georgia. Brent Woods came in there with a good comment saying he should have chosen the Bulldogs over the Vols. You have to think about the offensive mind that Gus Duggernaut really is. He decided to take his talents because of the A-plus prestige And more importantly, they are a great offense. They truly are. If you go back to that last graphic, look at the offense, 93 overall. Last year, they were 4-8. He takes over a better team than he took over last year, which was a 2-win Texas Tech team. This is big time. And I think, here's my prediction. I think that Gus Duggerton, I think he wins the national championship for the first time in his career. Coach Duggs is going to win a national championship at Tennessee. It's going to be tough because SEC, that road is rocky. It really is. But I think he's going to win the Natty.
Yeah, and so John Michael Presley giving out the big Dougs right there on Facebook. Then I see Greg asked this. He says this. He goes, he chose Tennessee because of Vol Twitter. Will be a lot of traffic.
He's smart.
Is that what goes into this?
I think absolutely. And that kind of brings us to our first topic, Austin, this is the question we're going to ask you guys. You kind of gone through the story, and look, you're going to watch these games. We're going to track them. It's going to be fun, right? We're not going to do every single show in orange every single day.
No, this is the introduction of Coach Duggs, because Ethan Ramsey says, I'm so confused. Yes, right. It's the virtual head coach, Coach Duggs, that's led by Big Cat from Barstool, and he has just taken the Tennessee Vols head coaching job.
And look, Kayan says, look, what happened to Jeremy Pruitt? Nothing happened to Jeremy Pruitt. Lambo 14 on IG says, when does the stream happen? So follow Barstool Big Cat on Twitter. He goes live on Twitch and he tweets this out. He's been doing it right around 9:30, 9 o'clock Eastern time. That's 8 o'clock, 8:30 Central time. But you can watch them live. It is on Twitch. Pardon My Take, which is the podcast that him and PFT host every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But we got a good question for him, Austin.
Yeah, we do. But so basically, you watch A to Z Sports Primetime with Buck, and then after that, you go back and you watch Coach Duggs on Twitch there. All right, so here's the first question, because I do think this is interesting. Will Coach Duggs, will this video game coach in this football dynasty, video game dynasty, will it actually help the Vols brand? That's the question we're asking today. Will Coach Duggs actually help the Vols brand? That's our first question for you guys. Yes or no? Give us reasons why. But first, let me tell you about Mandu. Mandu is the pulse of fitness. Zach is a very sore person right now because he went to Mandu on Monday for the first time in probably 2 months, and he's really sore because it's a workout that's 15 minutes, full body electronic muscle stimulation. It gets 90 to 95% of your muscle fibers. That 15 minutes in the Mandu lab, as I call it, simulates 5+ hours in a regular gym. And your regular gym might be closed, might have some restrictions. So right now, Mandu, it's the perfect time for your first free workout. Our guy Ty from our fantasy football league did it earlier this week too for the first time in Brentwood, in Cool Springs, and Memphis. Dallas is open if you're in that area. Mandu.com. Your first workout is absolutely free. It's perfectly set up for the coronavirus pandemic because it's by appointment only. Mandu.com is where to go.
We got some great comments coming in, Austin. I know you're happy because we're talking about Tennessee football, and Coach Duggs is your next. Look, he went to Tennessee. Austin, you went to Tennessee. Duggs went to Tennessee. I'm a happy camper because Tom Brady's wearing orange as well, but I'm talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Look, all is right in this world when everything is wrong in this world, and that's why we're going to go and we're going to break this down. I do think this is a good question. Houston CCC says absolutely no. Slowdown says, Lord, please hurry up and come back real sports. Kyle says definitely, but then another Kyle says no, not at all. Brent says yes, it will bring notoriety to the Vols, but I don't think it will change much for the Vols in real life. Ryan says, hell yeah, let's keep talking about the Vols, bring in more 5-star recruits. Now, Ryan, you will get a like right there, my friend, because that's where I'm going to go. I think this absolutely does help Tennessee's brand. Will it help them on the football field? Maybe, because if they keep stacking up these recruits, because the cool factor is massive. Your boy, Butch Jones, Austin, he got a ton of good recruits because the cool factor, the watches and the shoes, the recruiting ploy that he made. And he had some really good recruiting classes. The problem was he didn't develop their ass once they actually walked in the door and stayed for a couple of years. Jeremy Pruitt has proven just in 2 years he can do that a lot better than Butch Jones. But I think that this is big. I think this is big time. That you can set yourself up as a cool university. And we already know. Let's put the graphic back up. Back in 2014, when the Vols, that was Dooley, wasn't it?
2014, no. This was this video game came out in 2013, right before the season. So this was right before Butch Jones' first year.
So this is right before Butch Jones' first year, when Derek Dooley was coming off a terrible year when he couldn't recruit an offensive lineman. But if you look, their prestige is A+. That's why this is going to help Tennessee, because it will remind kids, athletes, fans, people interested in Barstool Sports that just has a megaphone across the internet. It will remind them that this is a really quality, big-time program that some want to be a part of. They're trending up, Austin. They're an 8-win team after losing to Georgia State and after losing to BYU. You can't deny Jeremy Pruitt bounced back. I think that this absolutely can help them.
Yeah, so that's the question. Will Coach Doug's in this virtual dynasty help the Vols brand? And Jay Kaspala says, obviously, he did more for Texas Tech than Mahomes. Now, Mahomes jumped on the Coach Doug train, and last night after Coach Doug's wins the Cotton Bowl, Patrick Mahomes, NFL MVP, says, stay for one more year, Coach Doug's. So will this actually make Tennessee good, or will this help the brand? I say yes, only if blank. Only if he can actually win the SEC. Because if Coach Doug's, who takes Texas Tech to the Cotton Bowl, and it was a tie for the Big 12 championship, if Coach Doug's cannot win at Tennessee, then you're going to see the negative things of, oh, well, see, not even Coach Doug's can win at Tennessee, and it'll flip on the Vols, and it'll become a let's make fun of the Vols because they can't even win in a video game with Barstool's Big Cat. Like, that's how bad the Vols shape are in. But if he wins the SEC East and he wins the SEC title and is playing for a shot at the national championship, which I think could possibly happen, Zach, you think those are the expectations, then that's the only way this can help Tennessee. He's got to be able to win on the field, on the video game field, for this to be an actual benefit. Right now, it's great because he hadn't played a game yet. And you mentioned he plays UCLA.
Yeah, well, so tonight he's going to set his schedule. He's already teased that. Look, UCLA has been Coach Doug's Achilles heel for the last 2 seasons. He lost his national championship hopes in the Pac-12 when he was Hollywood Doug's. Rivalry game, lost to UCLA, then scheduled them to open the season in Los Angeles, and Texas Tech lost their first game to UCLA. He's teased that and Tennessee has played UCLA before, right?
Oh, and where I was going to go with that, because Philip Fulmer's last season at Tennessee, which was my freshman year at UT, the opening game of the season was Labor Day night, Tennessee at UCLA. Daniel Lincoln, I'm sorry, Vol fans, for bringing this back up. Daniel Lincoln misses like 18 field goals in the game, and Tennessee loses, and that was the last time the Vols were ranked of my collegiate career. that was the first game of my student career at Tennessee, and it was at UCLA. So Peyton Manning got his real start at Tennessee at UCLA. So Tennessee at UCLA has a lot of connections. Lane Kiffin's second game of his career was UCLA in Knoxville. That was a game where Alteron Werner intercepted Jonathan Crompton 3 times in one game, and they lost that one too. So Tennessee and Coach Doug's have UCLA humps to get over, where UCLA, for whatever reason, has been able to get them.
Yeah, and Zach Reagan even brings up, like, this, and if you're just jumping on board, we do have to explain this because Ethan Ramsey, a longtime viewer of the show, says, so when is the part of the show where you explain what the hell this is? Well, we explained at the beginning of the show, but very quickly to recap, Barstool's Big Cat of Barstool Sports has been playing a dynasty for the last NCAA college football video game. Everybody wants that to be brought back. He's bringing it back in a great fashion, in a great style. He's been jumping in his dynasty. He's been jumping teams, climbing the ladder, and now everybody's jumping on board, even including, and Ethan, this is what the University of Tennessee's football official Twitter tweeted this out last night once he chose Tennessee. So everybody's on board. Zach Reagan brings up the fact that Lane Kiffin got involved on this. Lane Kiffin last night tweeted out, "Don't leave after 1 year. They don't take that very well."
Yeah, right.
There's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, I was a part of that too. That was my sophomore year. So, and the crazy thing about this is Ethan's asking kind of what about the story. So Big Cat starts with Coach Duggs as the offensive coordinator at Toledo. Success there for 1 year, gets a bigger job, goes down to Florida State. That's where momentum starts to be had because Florida State football on Twitter gets involved. Then after one successful year there, he moves and becomes the OC at Southern Cal. Then he gets his first head coaching job with Texas Tech, and he wins the Cotton Bowl. Did not win the Big 12, but wins the Cotton Bowl at 10-3. And then he gets the offer, and he picks Tennessee over Georgia because of Vol Twitter is a big player in that. Also, because Tennessee has a better offense in the game, and he's an air raid style coach, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think one of the reasons why, look, the Big 12 didn't have a championship, right? He didn't get his redemption against TCU. Right. That was a drag-it-out match earlier in the season. The SEC does have an SEC championship game in Atlanta. And also, I think you do bring up a good point is this is all fantasy, right? I mean, it's virtual. Let's sit here. Do not mistake that this is not in real life. Sports are not back yet because of the coronavirus. But this is what makes video games, I think, so great. That's why I love video games. It's why people play Grand Theft Auto, is because you could go steal a car and not actually get arrested, right? Yeah, right. You could go pick up a hooker in Grand Theft Auto where you don't really have to do that in real life. It's the same thing with Red Dead Redemption. It's going through a season of Madden. I'm going to be going through a season of Bliss 2000. Stay tuned for that on A to Z Sports. But I think this can really help Tennessee's brand because everybody wants to be cool. Austin, like the cool kids, they want Twitter followers too, right?
Right. And
that's try to jump on board.
And Shane, I don't know if you've read this comment yet, but Shane says we live in a virtual trending world. That's how we get recruiting attention as in the Vols. This is huge, and half of the fan base doesn't even realize it. So I'm going to ask this question to you, Zach, because I don't know about this. We've watched actual Tennessee football with real head coach Jeremy Pruitt rip off a recruiting hot streak, white hot, as they've climbed to the second best recruiting class in the country, only behind Ohio State, with I think 10 commitments over the last 3 to 4 weeks. Would Coach Duggs, would Big Cat have been that attracted to the Tennessee job if Jeremy Pruitt was not actually white hot in recruiting right now? Because because Tennessee football would not be discussed that much without
if they were a 6-win team that lost the bowl game.
If they were an 8-win team without this recruiting, they were a 7-5 team, 7-5 team, win a bowl game against Indiana that nobody cares about really outside of Tennessee fans. If they did not have the last 3 weeks of recruiting fire, would Big Cat be that tempted to go to Tennessee? I think he would have picked Georgia. So I kind of feel like real life and Coach Doug's virtual life kind of go hand in hand. Yeah, because Tennessee is being discussed right now, one of the most discussed programs in college football when nothing's happening in college football.
Well, and that's something that Tennessee does very, very well, right? When things aren't going on, when things have been bad over the last couple of decades, they find their way to try to find the light, right? They find the recruiting wins. If they can't find them on the field, which they haven't, this past year they have, but they find those. I do think that plays a major factor because we talked about it. We had a Vols show a couple of weeks ago, and it was, what do we talk about? We talked about in college football, we've covered college football for years, a part of the media, right?
Yeah.
In the offseason, nobody talks about the SEC. That's why the NFL dominates, right? Mm-hmm. That's why the NFL, but the one thing college football does have is passion. So when the fans actually get that carrot, that nugget, they attack. They click. I absolutely think that played a factor in him picking Tennessee. And it's all about look, if you're playing, it's all about personal thing. He's already said, and if you know anything about Barstool and Big Cat, Wisconsin guy, through and through, Madison, Wisconsin guy. And he said he will leave Tennessee. He'll leave anywhere if he gets the Wisconsin job because he's a Big Ten guy.
Sure. Yeah, and that's the funny thing.
He got the opportunity to go to Tennessee. I think it was a smart move. I actually predicted that yesterday.
You did.
Austin. We were texting about it in our text chains with Buck, and we're talking about Doug's and what was going on because I've been following this. And I go, if he wins the Cotton Bowl and gets offered by Tennessee, he's going to Tennessee.
And here's the funny thing is Lane Kiffin tweets at Big Cat say, don't leave after 1 year. They don't do well with that. If Wisconsin offers Big Cat and Coach Doug's the dream job, then Kiffin got offered his dream job at USC. So I'm kind of expecting that to happen. I'm kind of expecting Coach Doug's to have a one-and-done year at Tennessee, which would take about 2 weeks, right? So each season that Big Cat plays takes 2 weeks of our time, real life time, like one game a night or so.
Well, and let's give Barstool credit. Like everybody on the internet should follow Barstool. There's not an endorsement there. We have no affiliation with them, but they're really good at what they do. Dave Portnoy has done a fantastic job. I watch the pizza reviews every single solitary day and have for the last year. It's sheer entertainment. And one thing that Big Cat, I think they strategized with this. Look at where they've gone. They started a smaller school, went to the ACC, got everybody paying attention that loves Florida State and hates Florida State.
Yep.
Decided to go out west to Hollywood, USC,
Pac-12 involved. Yep.
Then goes to Texas Tech, the Super Bowl, the best quarterback in the NFL. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes, he goes to his alma mater and wins at Texas Tech, wins the bowl game, gets him involved. That's a very obscure place. Nobody picks Texas Tech if Patrick Mahomes has not come from that university, and then jumps to the SEC. The last place is possibly his dream job, as you said, Wisconsin. Gets everybody in college football involved, and it's a video game. It's genius. That's why Barstool is worth so much money. It is genius.
Like, you know how predetermined that was to make sure you hit all Power 5 conferences and you go to specific schools and you hit specific fan bases, because the Florida State fan base is hungry right now. The USC fan base is struggling and hungry right now.
Everybody's hungry. I'm freaking starving.
The Texas Tech fan base is actually riding higher than it's ever been because they just saw their guy Pat Mahomes hoist the Lombardi Trophy. And now you go to maybe the hungriest, thirstiest fan base in the entire damn country, the Tennessee Volunteers, and Barstool is just racking it up. Right, and it's brilliant. And David says the Barstool guys are great, and Ethan Ramsey nails it too. Tennessee is great at being relevant when it doesn't matter. But that's part of the brand, the Vols Football brand, and the orange that you see. Like, you see our show today, you automatically know Tennessee Vols. That's just what the brand is. The Power T still has juice, as Jacob says right there on Facebook as well. So this is premeditated and perfectly organized by Barstool to make this as big as possible. Because I did want to mention this one comment from Slowdown. He says, a part of me wants to play along, but a part of me wants to say, y'all people need to get a life, LOL. And Slowdown knows this. We're really slowed down at this point. It is only May 20th. It is just really at 2 months, not even 2 months, of the safe at home order really beginning in Nashville and across the state of Tennessee. It's slowing us down. This is giving a lot of sports fans something to pay attention to, just like The Last Dance did on Sunday nights. Now Big Cat is doing it in college football.
Well, and I think that's everybody. It's not just us in sports, right? We're trying, and I think Austin and everybody that works for us, we have tried and been forced to find a different way to work.
Yep.
Right. And everybody, and it's not just A to Z Sports. It's Barstool. It's everybody, right? That may have lost their job or is at home Zooming on meetings every day or trying to sell, or an insurance salesman, whatever. Like, we've had to do it differently. And so this is just another way. Do I want LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard in a series? Yes, I do. So damn bad. But I can't get that, right? So I got to do the next best thing. So if it's virtual or something obscure that I'm not used to, I think a lot of people understand that. They don't like it, but they understand that. I do think that there is hope, right? Yeah. We do good news at the end of the week, but some good news has come out this week because we're trending in the right direction. We're far from being there as a world, as a country, as a community, as a society, but it is trending that it is better today than it was April 10th, right?
Right.
That's a positive.
Yeah, and Shane says breaking news. Not sure if he's serious or not, but Coach Doug's will hold his presser at Gus's Deli. Like Gus's Deli is a famous deli right there on the campus at UT. Like you're going to start to see, because then Jacob Brink comes back and says, wait, not at Calhoun's, because Calhoun's is where every Vols coaches show is held right there on the river. You're going to start to see, I think Tennessee will take this to another level when it comes to outside of games. I think they're going to try to get Big Cat and the university involved together more than just tweeting out graphics like you said they did last night when Coach Doug's picks Tennessee. They showed the full Philip Fulmer and Jeremy Pruitt picture, but with
I just want to say Doug's hand doesn't line up with Doug's face.
No, but I will say Jeremy Pruitt is closer to looking like Coach Doug's these days than he is the Jeremy Pruitt from that picture.
That's a shot.
But it's Jeremy Pruitt is slowly transforming into becoming and looking like Philip Fulmer. That's the truth. A to Z Sports, we've talked literally 31 minutes about a video game college football coach. But I think that's the great thing about the times that we're in, is that we can do that and people are on board with it. But let's talk about actual Vol football. Jarrett Guarantano was named 11th quarterback out of 14 of the SEC starting quarterbacks for 2020. 11th out of 14. There's a lot of no-name quarterbacks in the SEC this upcoming season. So we're going to discuss Jarrett Guarantano, the best and the worst about Jarrett Guarantano, brought to you by the Tucker Agency, Zach.
Yeah, and we talked about doing things differently. The Tucker Agency recognized that. That's why they jumped on board with this partnership and a presenting sponsor, because you can do things differently and save money at the same time. If you've lost income or your job, email the head of the Tucker Agency. They're an insurance agency right here in Nashville, Tennessee. They are trusted, and they can restructure your insurance, your home insurance, your auto insurance, renter's insurance, life insurance. If you have insurance at some point, right, you got it through somebody. Email will@tuckertn.com. will@tuckertn.com. And he will help you. He and his team, his customers save an average of 20%. That's a couple $100 extra every single month. That can help you a great deal, right? That's doing things differently with a little bit more income because you restructured. will@tuckertn. That's Tucker Agency. Email him, say you heard him on A to Z Sports. You want help, he will help you.
A to Z Sports here live. Don't forget, if you want Titans tickets, TennesseeTickets.com, the safest place to spend your hard-earned money on Titans tickets. Titans20 is the promo code. Titans20. You save $20 off a Titans ticket purchase at TennesseeTickets.com. So what's the best and the worst thing about Jarrett Guarantano? I think there's a lot of different ways you can go with this, but what sparked this discussion is I saw Barton Simmons from 24/7 Sports earlier this year listed and ranked his SEC quarterbacks for 2020. And he has Jarrett Guarantano at Tennessee 11th. The only guys behind Jarrett Guarantano for Barton Simmons is Sean Robinson from Missouri, who sat out last year after transferring in from TCU. Miles Brennan at LSU, who's been waiting his turn, highly recruited guy, waiting behind Joe Burrow. And then 14, true freshman from Vanderbilt, Ken Seals. That's it. That's the only people behind Jarrett Guarantano. You have names like Ryan Helinski, Zach's guy, John Rice Plumlee, who's really talented. Terry Wilson at Kentucky, who got hurt early on last year. Felipe Franks, people forget, transferred to Arkansas and should be able to play pretty immediately. Then you got Bo Nix, Auburn, Mac Jones at Alabama, Kyle Trask at Florida. Kellen Mond is maybe the biggest name of SEC quarterbacks going into this year. That's kind of the state of SEC QBs. It's a weird year. So what's the best and the worst thing about Jarrett Guarantano, who is currently the Vols starting quarterback? Because Harrison Bailey, frankly, has not had a chance to do anything in spring practice to gain on him.
Yeah, well, and that's not surprising, right? That will continue to happen because of the coronavirus. Everybody has stopped, right? So the trajectory of what Harrison Bailey, I think, could be, put on pause now. Now, he may come on the scene like Johnny Manziel and be like, holy crap, this guy's unbelievable. But as of right now, probably going to go with Guarantano because you're trying to come off of an 8-win season and build on that.
Sure.
The best thing simply about Guarantano, and we'll start with that,
Yeah.
What's the best thing? It's simple. It's his experience, right? Not a lot of Tennessee or SEC quarterbacks, college football quarterbacks have the kind of experience that Jarrett Guarantano has. You just don't find them, right? They either jump to the league or they get benched,
transfer,
they get hurt, or they transfer, right? Guarantano has been there for a long, long time. He has experience. He's read defenses. Now, he's got a lot of worst. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying he's unbelievable, but that's something that I do think that I bet you Jim Chaney feels a lot better about going into this season because they haven't done everything traditionally because of the damn virus. He feels a lot more secure because his quarterback knows what to do and has been doing it for over a year now under his system. It's got to be experience.
See, I actually have to agree with Jacob. He says his best is JG is tough as hell. And another comment I want to go to is Kyle says the best thing is his ability to not give up on Tennessee no matter what. We'll get to the worst here in a second. But I think the best thing about Jarrett Guarantano is his attitude. His attitude's fantastic. Like, it's the fact that he has persevered through so much adversity and really the growth of his attitude as well. Because you remember this, it was in Atlanta, opening weekend of the college football season. It was Labor Day night once again, Tennessee versus Georgia Tech down there in the Mercedes-Benz Dome, and Quentin Dormady gets the start over Jarrett Guarantano, and the TV cameras picked up Guarantano pouting the entire game because he didn't get to play. And really Butch Jones ends up getting fired that year. Everything else kind of fell apart. But Jarrett Guarantano really had every right to leave Tennessee after this past season because he got played over by a freshman. He was injured. He wasn't playing very well. He kept getting benched multiple times. He had every right to say, you know what? I'm going to go back home to Rutgers. I know Greg Schiano. I know Rutgers. I grew up in that area. I'm going to finish my career there and play where I might be able to, it might be a little easier for me. But he, after that bowl game, said, I'm staying. And I think the best thing about Jarrett Guarantano is his attitude right now.
Well, he did that because he won, right? He had success at the end. If he would have lost to Vandy or lost to Indiana, played terribly, like Guarantano had to come back into that game and win that game, right? That was I'd like to go back and rewatch that game because that had some highs and some lows, but it ended on a high, Austin. And I don't know what Guarantano would have done if that would have ended on a low and Maurer was playing the entire time. I do think that things are differently, but look, it didn't happen that way. So I do think that's the reason why he's back. I don't disagree with what you have to say. Right. I just think that we'll go into his worst here in a second. But I think if you look at the comments, Scott, I think, nails it. He says, I don't like his talent. I love his heart. Right.
And Trevor said Guarantano is a competitor. LGRW says from YouTube, he says his attitude. Austin's right, first for everything.
And that changed a lot after that Georgia Tech game.
Right.
I mean, that was it. I remember him sulking. What was that, Dormady? Right?
Yeah, Quentin Dormady. Yeah, just pouting around.
So a lot has changed, but it should, right? You grow up and you become a grown-ass man. You stop worrying about things that you don't like and you start doing them and making sure that you have success in whatever career path that you want. That's a life deal. Your ass should grow up from freshman to junior to senior to grad.
That's when you do your most growing as a human being for the most part, speaking in generalities. Okay, so what's the worst thing about Jarrett Guarantano? I have a super specific one because I think
go ahead.
I think everybody can say inconsistency, right? Like that's just painting the broadest brush you can. That's like the broadest paint roller you could have, right? Is just inconsistency.
It's one of those sprayers.
Yeah. That's exactly it. It's one of those huge wide sprayers that makes you paint your fence in like 20 minutes. But I think it's different than that. I think it's his ability to operate quickly. If you want to talk about why he's inconsistent, it's because of that, in my opinion. It's when he's out in the open field and there's a guy wide open, or if it's a jump ball down the field, he can make that throw all day because he has time. He's got the ability to step into it. He's got an arm that's got plenty of talent. But it's what happens when it's a tight window or when it's in the red zone. Because so many times the Vols ended drives kicking field goals last year when they should have been scoring touchdowns, but Jarrett Guarantano was not good enough making decisions quickly. It also shows how bad he is when he can't get pass protection from his O-line. When he's got protection, he's pretty solid, but he's got to learn how to make decisions quicker and on time, because that cost Tennessee a couple games last year.
Yeah, and he got better. His worst attribute has changed for me. At the beginning of his career, and the stats show this, he was sacked 26 times. The next year, 22 times. And then last year, only 15 times. Now, that's an improvement not only on the offensive line, as you referenced, but also him becoming more experienced, more savvy, not taking the sack. I think his worst attribute is, and it kind of goes similar to what you said, but his dirt balls. I like to call them dirt balls.
Yeah.
Or it's either dirt balls or high throws. It's like, bro, what the hell was that? That's not a SEC quarterback throw.
No, and why does that happen? It's because you got Brian Hopkins on Facebook saying that he's not accurate. He's not accurate when he's not accurate when the play is not on time, because then he gets his feet all jacked up. Like, you remember there was one play, yes, and Shrike brings it up as I'm saying it. He says Wood Anderson should still be running. It was at Florida. Tennessee was only down 7-0. This was right in the beginning of the second quarter. Dominic Wood Anderson, the tight end, could not be more wide open running down the seam. And if you watch that play from the end zone angle, Jarrett Guarantano is basically doing like a horizontal lunge with his feet all jacked up, and the way he threw it, he missed the guy by 15 yards. Wasn't even close, because his feet were so off and that play was not in time, and he missed by a lot. So if he was able to step back in time, get his feet set, that's a touchdown and strikes right. Wood Anderson's still running.
Yeah, and I'm giving the love of the show. Sometimes it's an obscure love. Sometimes it's just a funny one. This one, I think, goes to exactly what we're talking about, and it goes to Jacob. Jacob hits the nail on the freaking head. Can we talk it goes, he gets lost in the big moments.
Yeah. The
last play at BYU, goal line at Alabama, Dobbs was the exact opposite, right? And it's genius, right? Dobbs, when the bright lights were shining, his game accelerated, right? He rose to the occasion. It seems like, and I'm not going to say every time, but that Bama game was a heartbreaker for a lot of Tennessee fans. Like, I'm not a Tennessee fan, but you can't have the selfish, boneheaded play to do what your coach told you not to do, and cost yourself and your entire team an opportunity, right? He didn't cost him the game. He cost him an opportunity to get back in the game against a prestigious program like Alabama that Tennessee has not had success in decades against.
Right. Let me take the Dobbs Guarantano opposite step thing a little further. Dobbs did not start in his sophomore year. He was not the starting quarterback until late in the season because he was a poor practice player. And Butch Jones did not trust to put him out there until he had no other option, because there was so many just bad injuries, and Justin Worley's shoulder was falling out. But Dobbs was a bad practice player. But obviously when the moment got big, Dobbs showed up and made the game-winning play or a massive play. Jarrett Guarantano is a really good practice player. Why? Because in practice, you can control everything. You can control the defense. You can control your call. There's no crowd. There's no blitz. Nobody's going to hit you. And so Jarrett Guarantano, great practice player. But when the lights come on, eyes big, freezes up, can't make quick decisions. That's to take the opposites. Yes, absolutely, Jacob. You nailed it. Dobbs and Guarantano are the exact opposite of quarterbacks.
And their success, right? I mean, it yields the exact opposite. Dobbs got, 2016, we all know why that entire season derailed. It derailed at South Carolina with Jalen Hurd, and then it derailed again at Vanderbilt at the end of the season, costing them a Sugar Bowl bid. Instead, Auburn backdoors their way again at the end and goes to the Sugar Bowl against Oklahoma. I think Trevor brings up something. He says, similar to Mariota, his footwork needs help, indecisiveness, struggles leading his receivers. It made me think about that comment. Made me think about something else. Look, pro and college, much different, right? A lot different of what you have on the line. Austin, I'll ask you this. You talked about Jarrett Guarantano's toughness, which I agree with you. Dude's tough, right?
Yes.
He plays.
He played through a broken wrist with like screws in it.
Do you think Mariota would have done that?
No. Now, again, you're right, playing for different things. Marcus Mariota was playing for his future. Because
Guarantano is playing for his future in a different way.
Right, but financial future direct impact on Marcus Mariota. And look, there is a difference in a broken
gritty by Guarantano.
But there's a difference, Zach, and I think we have to understand there's a difference in a broken bone that was surgically repaired and during a bye week and nerve damage, right? It's not fair. That's why
But can he play?
Right.
In the famous words of Varsity Blues, can he play?
And Mariota was closer to a coma than Guarantano was. But the nerve damage is something that's unknown.
Well, Ryan Maurer was closer. He got knocked all year.
Ryan Maurer.
And that's not funny, obviously, with the aftermath of what we know about Brian Maurer. But honestly, it shows. I mean, Maurer took some hits and he kept coming back in. I don't know if that was good or bad for his health. Seems to maybe be bad for it. But and maybe that's the trend of Tennessee quarterbacks. JT Stroud, I don't know how many times his ass got hit, but like all of them, that kind of shows you the protection or the setup of the offense. Quarterbacks are taking hits all year.
Yeah. So Tucker Agency's best and worst. I say the best for Guarantano is his mental toughness and attitude. The worst, his inability to make quick decisions. That's where I land this conversation with.
Skip balls, man, drive me nuts, though. They're lost plays, and they're drive killers. As you said, they kicked a bunch of field goals when they should have scored touchdowns or at least had opportunities. They just dirtball it.
Yeah. A to Z Sports. Let's get to throwing shade. Zach, I'm throwing shade within the company, so get ready for that. Yeah. I'm throwing shade within A to Z Sports. But before we get to throwing shade, tell the people about Calvin and Subtle.
Yeah, Calvin and Subtle is where you need to get your next hardwood floors. It's very, very simple. They are trusted right here in Nashville, Tennessee. And all you have to do is give them a call. It's 615-448-6414. That's 615-448-6414. Ring-a-ding-ding. Call Calvin and Subtle on the phone. Rachel will answer and set up your first meeting within 1 or 2 days. They're going to be wearing a mask and gloves. Make sure you're safe. But it's to check out what new hardwood floors you may need in your house. Bathroom, kitchen, bedroom, den, dining room, living room. You've been in your house for God knows how long, right? We've been locked up, as Akon said. Well, you can break out with some brand new hardwood floors at Calvin and Subtle. CalvinandSubtle.com. Installation 1 to 2 weeks. They're awesome. Cost effective too. They've got luxury. They've got a great selection. Pick out your perfect hardwood floors at CalvinandSubtle.com.
All right, A to Z Sports here live on a Wednesday, which means throwing shade. So get your shade ready, everybody. I am throwing shade within the company, so I'm very excited about that. But Zach, I'm going to let you begin.
I want you to go. You have now tickled my interest. I can't wait any longer about what the company. Now you're throwing shade at the company. That's big time. This is the forefront. We got to start this thing off. This may have to be talked about on the other end. This has to be done correctly. There's no sandwich today. This is an open face coming in. So I got to know first and foremost.
Yes. All right. So my shade, as I try to send this tweet out on time for everybody, because I had to @ somebody on Twitter to get them in here. And I saw he was watching earlier, but I have to throw shade, Zach. I have to at Buck Rising's facial hair. I have to absolutely talk. It is so bad. It's like, look at that. Like that. Like what? I don't even know what to compare Buck to. Like, is he he looks like an HVAC guy that just shows up at your house to fix your unit. Like Buck's facial hair is so bad. I don't even know. Like he claims that he got drunk watching NASCAR and shaved his beard into that bushy goatee where birds might be living in it. Like this is by far the worst facial hair in the entire company. Look at you can see my facial hair as I go back to our graphic. You can see mine. I have not shaved in a week. No, I have not shaved in a week. This is it. This is all I get, a week's worth of time. This is what comes in. But my goodness, Buck's facial hair is terrifying. Like if you saw that guy walking around your street, you'd be like, that guy's up to no good right there. Buck's facial hair needs to go. And that was during his podcast with Emily Proud and Adam Vengen, which I listened to this morning with 615 sessions. So you can check that out. But man, Buck's facial hair, brutal. That's my shade today.
All right. So this is my opinion on Buck's facial hair. And usually I don't mind calling out Buck. I called his ass out at the beginning of the week with the most horrific hot take rising, saying that that's the Last Dance is the 5th best 30 for 30, which is so ridiculous. It is like unbelievably good. It was incredible. The reviews told everybody that. But the goatee, I respect a man with a goatee, right? I look at 25, 26, I respect the confidence and the sack up, as you say, to actually go through with it and rock it multiple days. Look, I rocked a mustache for 5 straight weeks.
But the mustache was good, and I'm surprised you went away from it.
You didn't say it at the beginning. You were saying how bad I look, how awful I look.
No, I said you should have shaved clean around it to have the mustache stand out. And I know you phased the mustache coming in. But look, I mean, here's what you got is people are saying Austin's jealous. I'm not jealous of that. Ethan Ramsey says, if I saw Buck looking like that around a playground, I'm taking my kid and leaving. Bobby says it's a little too thin above the mouth. Let's see. DeMarie is right. He's definitely not taming that beast of a goatee. Tame the beast, Buck. You need to make sure you get that beard trim, that trimming oil, that beard oil from getbeast.com. Make sure you get that in there. I just think it's too bushy. Like it feels uneven or like too lopsided in my opinion.
Yeah. So that's fair shade. I understand the shade. Could be a tire guy for a NASCAR team. Is funny.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he looks like. Which maybe that's what he's going. He's just changing those tires.
All right. So mine is future shade.
Okay.
Right. Future shade. I knew this is going to happen. And we kind of talked about this before the show, but this is major future shade because it will happen. And you know what we need to do? We need to screenshot these. We've already had some of them. We should screenshot them and show them to the world and have a recap. The amount of people, right? And we're going to be following this Coach Doug's thing. I'm not saying you have to be in the know to understand Coach Doug's, but I mean, come on. I mean, when you have huge fan bases and real Twitter handles of real universities, of real football programs, real NFL players, there is going to be a big, big target market audience of probably, I don't know, an older generation on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter that really think that Jeremy Pruitt got fired from him. And they're going to be like, what the hell happened to Pruitt? He just won 8 games. He's coming off of a massive bowl win to Indiana. And they're going to think that this man is the new head coach in all reality for the University of Tennessee because they are going to be out of the loop, out of the absolute loop. So mine is future shade for everybody that doesn't do the research. Look, I don't expect you to know this right out of the gate, but do the research and don't just comment, Pruitt's gone? What happened? Phil, why'd you do that? No, do a little bit of research.
Yeah. And Smith Cameron on Twitter says, my dad was so thrown off by all of this.
And people will be doing that because they don't have the internet. You don't have to have the internet to survive or to live. I mean, that you can do that. But that's my future shade for everybody who actually comments and doesn't ask questions on who the hell Coach Doug's is.
Yeah, and Jacob says the 80-year-old Vol fan still thinks we play Nintendo.
Well, I'm going to be playing some Nintendo a little bit later.
But it is funny because my dad always, no matter what I had, whether it was a PlayStation 1, a PS2, an Xbox, or an Xbox 360, it was, hey, get off that Nintendo. Just you've been on that Nintendo for 3 hours. Go outside. Like that's what it was always called. But it is funny because there are two demographics that will do this and make this mistake that Zach is talking like. It's the 12-year-olds on Instagram And as Zach Reagan pointed out, it's the senior citizens on Facebook. Those are the two demographics
And there's
that
a
will be
lot
like,
of them. We're talking millions.
And I was originally, my shade was going to be at 12-year-olds on Instagram, but I thought that would be too mean because they don't deserve that.
Oh, so I took it.
So you took it, but you took it in a different way. But 12-year-olds on Instagram and senior citizens on Facebook, that will be the most confused about this Coach Doug situation that we'll be following for at least the next 2 weeks.
And it will be funny, and we're going to have to look. We pride ourselves, A to Z Sports.
People that sit the whole game, that Rob says.
that was a close, man. I already gave out my love of the show.
That's a good one. Good job, Rob.
That was a good one, Rob.
Rob was in timeout a couple weeks ago, but that one was great.
You've totally redeemed yourself with that comment. I will say this, and this will be a struggle. We talked about how weird this world we live in of the pandemic. This brand we've built over the last several years to have reputation, right? But things have changed, and we're going to have to be doing things a different way. And some people are going to be like, what the hell is A to Z Sports? They're talking about a damn video game, that Nintendo's. Well, we got to, right? Because there's nothing else to talk about. If we didn't have this pandemic and we actually had, we were looking forward to SEC Media Days or mini camps of the Titans, then it's a different story. But we're going to have to really explain a little bit later. Look, I'm going to have to explain here at lunchtime. I'm going to be going through the rigors of the Titans schedule on Blitz 2000, baby. That's right. What you should be looking forward to. But a lot of people are just going to miss it.
Yeah, and just because Bulldogs 1992 on Twitch has commented this at least 5 times today, asking us what our favorite Disney movie is. Bulldogs 1992.
What is your favorite Disney movie?
I think I need to think about this. I think I need to really sit down, go through the options, and not just take a off the top of my head shot at what my favorite Disney movie is. I think it's too important of a topic to do just right now at the end of a show.
I have an obscure one. It is not my favorite. Well, it may be my favorite.
Let's just, because Bulldogs, completely off topic. And again, they've been commenting on Twitch like all show long about Disney movies. Props to you for sticking through college football talk when you want to talk about Disney movies. But I think we'll have to do that, whether it's later this week or next week or whatever. We'll make that an show topic for sure.
God, I've got a good one though. No, we're going to forget about this.
No, we're not. I'll text it to you right now. So next Monday or Tuesday, as an end-of-show topic, we'll do favorite Disney movie.
All right, don't forget, because I've got mine. I've got one that nobody will guess.
All right, I just texted it to you, so we're good. We've got that in the bank. We'll do that early next week.
This movie made me cry as a kid. Tears streaming down my face because of the emotional impact it had on me as a youngster.
Oh, nice. And Danny asks, are you streaming the Blitz on Facebook?
Yes, so we're streaming everywhere, baby.
Everywhere.
I've been working these bones. I've probably put in 10 hours over the last several weeks.
Are you any good at Blitz? Because you've been playing a lot of Blitz. Can you go win this thing?
Well, so it's a good question.
Yeah.
And it's tough when it comes to Blitz because there is catch-up mode, right? And in the season, it's tough to face these teams, right? It's going to come down to the last second. There's 2 great things about Blitz. It takes about 15, 20 minutes, doesn't take long, and it comes down to the wire where you got to make plays. Clock management is key.
You got to be Josh Dobbs, not Jarrett Guarantano.
I am good at Blitz. I start the season today, and we're gonna face. This is gonna be a good matchup. Steve McNair against Achilles Smith and the Cincinnati Bengals at home, Adelphia Coliseum. So I'll tweet out when I'm going to do it. We're going to be streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch. So follow us there. And we're going to start this season. I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to this.
Parting comment, Todd on YouTube. Pruitt still the head coach? ? Yes.
Mike
Jeremy Pruitt is still the Vols head coach in real life, but it's Coach Doug's on the NCAA Football 14 as Big Cat and Coach Doug start his first season as Vols head coach later this week. So thanks, guys, for watching. We'll see you later on. Zach will be seeing you later on this afternoon with his NFL Blitz Live. Thanks for watching, guys. Everybody on IG Live, appreciate you guys as well. We'll see you tomorrow morning for a Titans Thursday. Buck Rising tonight. A to Z Sports Primetime. See you later.
Adios.